Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the second edition of the 22 panels Pulp Blotter with myself and Mark Pratt. Still haven't actually really invited anybody else, Mark. Sorry about that.
No.
One day we'll make it so that you don't have to be here for one of these to happen.
Well, maybe we can get somebody
I
somebody
know
who
Chris
actually worked
Condon's
on one of these things.
interested, so maybe. But she died in Terrabone, which is different. It's not like a lot of things that one reads. It throws back a lot to old newspaper strips. It's definitely in that form. But it also throws back to them in that it feels like there should be 5 years of Sam Kimimura before it and 5 years after it, and you don't get them. Which I both love and hate about it.
Hmm. Well, I
What are
mean,
your
I think
thoughts?
I think that in a way, I agree with you that the format of it is really cool. I
Yeah.
love the sort of, like you said, it's like a newspaper strip. I love that. Um,
Well, and it
Uh,
was published
that that
weekly
it
online.
is interesting because for me, it immediately, like, the first thing I thought when I started reading it is about two or three movies from the 70s. There was a whole period in the 70s where there was like this sort of uh rural crime movie. The one that immediately comes to mind is Prime Cut, if you've ever seen it, which
Think so. Can't remember.
is it's Lee Marvin is
Okay.
like a fixer from Chicago who um, is sent to a rural community where Gene Hackman runs a crime empire uh, out of his ranch and meatpacking plant,
Okay.
and it is they get this first thing that I thought of, and it and that's not a it's a great movie, very 70s, but I mean, like, also I felt like this book, I felt like what Kevin Church came up with here is, it struck me very much like 70s
Well,
crime
I mean,
filmmaking, really. I mean, in
right
you
off
know
the bat, he kind of dedicates it to Robert Altman and Raymond Chandler, Dan Clowes and Hugo Pratt, Kurosawa, Kubrick, Demi, Jules Dassin and Carol Reed, Ray
hmm
Brubaker, Ellis Rucka, Darwin Cook. So, and then Milt Caniff and Roy Crane. So I think
right,
he's really aware of
yeah,
I'm taking these crazy elements and kind of
yeah, I
throwing them
mean, and I
together.
think it's for me, uh it was sort of an exercise in I don't want to say style over substance, but like, I felt the plot was, I, I'd seen these beats before, but I mean, like, we're also
Right,
dealing with crime fiction, which and detective fiction, which a lot of those beats are well trod and
right.
well worked out. I enjoyed Sam Kimimura as a character. I thought he was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Um, I I thought that a lot of the characters, though they fit right into the archetypes of detective fiction, were pretty well sketched out. But yeah, I mean, it does the like, as we've talked about in the last one, I love detective fiction. I
Hmm.
love and it does feel like a single story that is part of a whole series.
Yeah,
And I wish there was a whole series,
I do
because
too.
then that gives you the opportunity to um, delve more into who your central protagonist is. I have a sense of who Sam Kimimura is,
And
but I
on the
don't feel
flip,
like I know him. It feels like uh, you know, I don't know.
It's
I
something I
feel like
almost
I enjoyed it while I was reading it, but as I was
right.
thinking about it after the fact, it felt like
The reader has to do some heavy lifting.
sure. I mean, but it's also
Um,
like um I gotta like many of the things that like this may sound harsh, but I don't
no,
mean it
no.
harshly.
I mean,
But
I love getting a
it felt like a
creator's
collection of cliches, right?
there's definitely elements of that.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, I don't know that I think Sam is one of them. And that's one of the things that I like about it is he's responding to all of these cliches and you're having to figure out like how he I mean and I mean he is and he isn't. I think a lot about how little we know about his relationship with Daphne's mother. But it's
Oh,
clearly
sure.
this incredibly meaningful part of his life. And even through just a handful of panels, we realize that this whole thing is so much more personal to him than just the paycheck, even though he's getting his ass kicked on a regular basis because he owes money to the wrong guys.
Well, I mean, but that even look, like really to Kevin Church and T.J. Kirsch, which I hope that's how it's pronounced.
I think so.
Um, like I do not want to sound harsh because like
Right.
it's a super enjoyable read. It feels like when you pick up, I mean, like I'm a huge fan of the all sorts of detective fiction. Geez, my
Right.
brain is not working this morning. I couldn't come up with a name right off the top of my head, but I mean, like I
I'm reading a
love
Parker book right now.
serialized detective fiction, and almost all of the classic serialized detective fiction falls into these same things.
Right.
Like there's going to be the moment where the detective gets caught and beaten and then comes back. I the you know the alcohol problem, the
Yeah.
constant smoking, it's like it is
Oh yeah, it's
the femme
definitely
fatale that comes and
well
visits
and
him for no
but
reason whatsoever, and then he has sex with, and I think that all of it is really fun. It's just when I sat down after I finished it, and I was like, okay, well, we're going to talk about this. What what
well, I
is
mean, here's a question. Did the femme fatale visit him for no reason whatsoever?
Well, I
Or
mean,
did her
obviously,
father send him?
the femme fatale
Send her.
never visits the detective
Right.
for no reason. I mean,
Right.
that's the nature of the beast. But I mean, like the way the scene is presented from Sam's point of view when she appears,
Right.
it's like, oh yeah, all right. Uh, like there's always a deeper connection. I mean, like
Yeah.
the one thing that I was waiting for that never really showed up was the two cases that somehow at the end are connected, right?
Connected.
Um, and that didn't, but
Well,
that's where I
I
started
mean,
thinking of
he's
that's
able to
where
solve his money problem by putting together his one set of criminals with his other set of criminals. So, I mean, that's
yeah,
kind
but
of
that's
it.
but yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's like
I do, and I probably don't read as much crime fiction as you do, but I do find it interesting that um both the criminal in Terrabone and the man that hired him have like put their daughters in harm's way to further their gain. It's not actually the trope that you see very often, I don't think.
well,
I mean, it feels like the guy up in Terrabone like told his daughter to go sleep with Sam so he'd have an excuse to kick his ass and make him want to leave town.
oh sure. I mean, look, I mean, I don't know. I do I do read a lot of detective fiction. I mean,
Right.
uh you know, Dashiell Hammett is of course the
Gosh,
classic, but
I love Terrabonne.
I love Matt Scudder, which is uh Lawrence Block. Lawrence Block.
Okay.
That's probably my personal favorite. You know, Gregory McDonald, the Fletch books, which are a little more tongue in cheek, but
Right.
um,
They
yeah, I mean, like
they adapted
the
8 Million Ways to
manipulation of
Die
them.
to comic.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
um, the but I mean, like the thing is like really for me reading this, it didn't it invoked a lot of that, but it also invoked a lot of uh like I said, 70s detective
Yeah.
noir filmmaking. I mean, like the Chinatown, you have that where the use of the daughter, the
Okay.
not even use of the daughter, but the manipulation, you know, that has a whole incestual sort of thing going on, and there is some hinting at that here. But I mean, I think I also it you know, and again, this kind of goes back to I wish they had continued with this because
Right.
as a first run at a detective story for Sam Kimimura, it's great. It makes me want to read more about Sam Kimimura, but and then as you expand on the character, you know, like as you do more stories. I mean, this is the Matt Scudder books are a real good example of this. Is like they're the first couple are pretty basic detective stories, and then as it expands, we go into his alcoholism and all this sort of stuff and his sobriety. And those that expands and deepens the character. Um, but I mean, you know, like you like I think that you know, I mean, I guess it comes down to the fact is I really liked it. I didn't love it, you know.
I think that's
It's
fair.
yeah, I mean, it's it you know, and there's things about it. There's things about it as I was reading through it that I sort of like uh it kind of hit me the wrong way sometimes. And that's when um like it seems like Kevin Church is really, really dismissive of his own talent in his introduction and in his
He is.
bio. And
He
I'm like,
is.
dude, like you got this done. You did it.
Yeah.
It's in print. It like do not apologize for that. And
Yeah. It's
it's
such
like
a common thing among comic people, though, which drives me up the wall.
well, I mean, and it's like
I mean, I think it's a common thing in creative types, period.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you know, not to delve into it, you know, like uh, we were talking about the Crucible
Right.
right before we started recording, and I don't want to go into that and why we were talking about it, but
You're nominated for an award that you don't feel
well,
like
yeah,
you're going to
let's
get.
not talk about that. I don't want to talk about that, but I mean, like, okay, Arthur Miller to me is a stone genius. Great.
Right.
Okay, I've written a couple of plays. I've written several plays, and uh, I'm not Arthur Miller. I can say that, but at the same time, I've written plays that have been produced and published, and man, just step up and say it. Yeah, that's great. I actually am pretty good at this. So yeah, that's sort of a metatextual reading. It's one of those
Right.
things, and you're right. You hear that from comic book people all the time, you know?
And you, given the comic plays that you've written, you probably have a feeling for how deep the imposter syndrome is like embedded in the industry.
Oh, sure,
Um,
sure.
because not only is it, oh, oh, I managed to make but I made a comic. I didn't make a
Hmm.
book. I didn't make a movie. I didn't, you know, there's so much where So he's probably on one level thinking, I made a web comic that somebody decided to print, you
Well, I
know.
mean, in terms
Uh,
of comic books, that's
which
better than
no,
I've
I,
done.
I agree
So, I
with
mean,
you. I
yeah, I
agree
mean,
with
look,
you.
look, like, but the yeah, I
And
mean, but I do think that is, it's interesting because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about that, and I'm wondering if that isn't part of what's not catching with me with this piece is that it feel like that it's almost like he doesn't want to break out of the tropes, you know?
well, I wonder, and Kevin, if you're listening, don't
Yeah,
take this
I
the
really,
wrong
I'm
don't take this
super,
the wrong way. And I'd love
I'm
to
not
talk to
taking,
Kevin
yeah.
about this. Um, because there are some times where I'm like, how much more does he know? And there are other times where I'm like, he knows that we're supposed to know that there's something behind this, and he doesn't even necessarily know what it is, but he knows how to make it look like there's something, you know. Um, so I wonder on what level he was intending it to stand alone and how that affected his writing. Whether he would have been willing to take it to long series, whether that would have changed the way he looked at it. Um,
Well, I mean,
because it
I question, if you're doing this as a web comic, and I know that, working in web comics is, it's a long game,
yeah,
right? But like
it's an
if
even longer game when it's you and an artist.
right. So, but I mean, at the same
Because if
time,
the
it's like,
artist gets a better paying gig somewhere,
right, right. But I mean, it's also like, why there is, I mean, I always respect somebody who gets to the point where they feel like they need to stop,
right?
and then they stop, and they don't just keep cranking it out when they don't really feel it. And maybe that's what happened, but it's also like it just feels like I wanted more. I wanted more. I mean, in the little text piece at the end of the book
That was a cool little story.
speaks of more,
Right.
and I would I I would like to see that. I mean,
Yeah.
I could see myself. Well, I mean, like, I'm talking about, I talk about the Scudder books. I read the first couple by Lawrence Block, and I was like, these are good. I don't know that I love them. And, but, I was like, well, there's a couple more. I'll just, there's a bunch more. But I mean, I was like, I'll read another couple. And then as it d deepened, then I became really bonded to that character. And I guess at a certain point, I was waiting to bond to
Right.
Sam in terms of
Well,
wanting
it's a
to.
it's a weird thing that can happen in serialized
Oh, sure.
crime books. Because like one of the things that gets talked about with Parker books, and I love Parker books, uh, Donald Westlake
Sure.
as his Richard Stark alter ego is just
Hmm.
like sharp, concise. Those books are just paced perfectly, even though he's got his complete formula. They're all the same damn formula, and it doesn't matter. Um, but one of the things that gets said a lot is you don't have to read them in order. You can just grab one. They all stand alone,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they do. But if you read them in order, very subtly, very slowly over time, not only does Parker's character become more defined, it changes.
Hmm.
As much as he has the reputation of this is the way I am, period.
Right.
No, it changes in really subtle ways that sometimes take like 4 books to manifest themselves.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like it was funny. This actually just makes me think. Sean Harkleroad, our
Yeah.
co-friend. Um, mutual friend. I guess that's the
Mutual
right
friend,
term.
co-friend. Yeah, he's
He
your friend,
was
he's my friend, but we're never friends together.
right. He was over here last night. And we were watching the Conan movies.
Okay.
And uh, we were talking about Robert E. Howard because I read the complete Conan Robert E. Howard books over the last year. And I kind of moved slowly through it
Right.
because it's so formulaic that after a while, I had to
Right.
take breaks.
Right. I tend to do
But
Parker books like 3 or 4 at a time.
right, like I could read like two Conan stories before I was like, okay, I need to read something else, and then I could
Right.
come back to it. But
Right.
the fascinating thing about the version, the complete works that I had was that it was published in published order, but that at the beginning of
Okay.
each story, they were like, if you want to read these in chronological order, uh, you should
This
go to
comes
page
between.
whatever and
Okay.
read um you should go to page whatever and read it. And I read them in published order. But it was fascinating because just like you talk about, and you know, there's various different things like uh, Howard has Howard, much like Lovecraft, you're very much aware of the fact that they were writing for pulps and it was 5 cents a word. And so therefore we're gonna we're gonna get as much money as we can. But the thing that really fascinated me was the second Conan the Barbarian story that was published. He was already the king of Aquilonia. Like, so this whole thing about, and this is a very long way to getting around to what you're talking about with Parker and also Matt Scudder and all of these detective characters, is that uh, Robert E. Howard already knew what his end game was and had already written it. And I think that that's fascinating. And I think in a modern context with these detective books, I don't think that much thinking out is done. I think that, like, specifically with Lawrence Block and the Scudder books, which are very much like a personal diary of his path through Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, him as a human being writing these books was going through Alcoholic Anonymous, and so Matt is as well. And I think that watching a character grow in that manner that is not thought out is fascinating too. But I mean, it is like who who Conan is in the very second story that Robert E. Howard wrote is actually quite different than the one in the first story, because now he is king by his own hand. And um and and then that resonates as you're reading through the whole thing. Part of me wants to go back and read them in chronological order now, but it's also, that was a big project, so I
Right.
don't know that I want to do it again anytime soon. Um, but that you know that Kevin Church working on Sam Kimimura, I feel like he's doing more of the instinctual thing.
Yeah.
I don't think if he had an end game for that character, I would think he would have continued.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
and I
and
don't,
this
you know,
is this is where we also get into to like getting paid and whatnot.
sure,
Sometimes
absolutely.
sometimes it comes down to maybe he had the next idea kind of, but not yet. He had to see whether or not this was going to do well enough for him to continue. Um,
Well, I mean,
I mean,
and I mean, apparently either it didn't,
it looks like it
or
didn't. Or
right.
but but
Because I mean, this is my copy is a 2014 edition, so that's 10
right,
years old. So,
right.
um,
And I think I have a digital copy, but it's not available digitally right now.
right.
So I bought it when it was available on Kindle, but it's no longer available on Kindle.
Hmm.
Um, and for that matter, it's no longer
Well, don't
available
remove that
on
download then.
what?
Don't remove that download
Oh,
then.
no, no, no. Kindle is set up so that if you purchase them before they stop being available, you can still get access to them with
Hmm.
books, with movies, with whatever. Thank God, because man, would that suck otherwise. But like his website, um, when you click on Agreeable Comics, which should take you to the original version, it
Hmm.
uh it takes you to there's been a critical error on this website.
Right.
Doesn't exist anymore. Um, looks like he does most of his writing as a critic,
Right.
post StarTrek.com. Seems like an interesting guy. I keep thinking about asking or reaching out, but I haven't yet because I wanted to finish this before I reached out.
Oh, sure.
Um, and for that matter, I remember that I came across it because I forget if it was in the back of um if it was in the back of one of his issues of um Lazarus where he gives his reading um what he's reading then, or if he mentioned it somewhere else, but Greg Rucka loved this while it was going on. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, if Rucka says it's good, I gotta go check it out.
Well, yeah, this is totally up Rucka's
You know,
lane.
right.
That's
It is.
yeah.
Because in terms of contemporary comics, what it reminds me of most is, Rucka with um oh, why can't I remember his detective?
Hmm. Hmm. I can't.
Stumptown.
Right.
Stumptown. Rucka's Stumptown, or um Brubaker and Phillips with Reckless Now. Stumptown managed to go 4 volumes and even went back to a TV series, but it didn't like hit. It's not even what Rucka's known for, as good as it is. Brubaker
Right.
and Phillips are, the modern masters of crime comics in a way that like Westlake and Lawrence Block were the guys for pulp crime in the 70s,
Hmm.
but it doesn't I mean, I wish that the market had more room. um, but it
Well, I
doesn't feel
mean,
like it does these days. He I think credited, or no, I'm thinking of something else. I wonder, um, have you read any hard case crime pulps or comics?
oh yeah, no, I've read a couple of the pulps, and of course, the Mystery is
Is
hard case.
published,
Yeah.
but there's new stuff too. I
Right.
feel like this is something that could fit there.
Hmm.
Um, I think it
Oh,
could fit
yeah,
there
absolutely.
whether he did it as prose or comics. I think it would almost be interesting if he did a la Max Allan Collins with oh, what's the Quarry, his Quarry books. He has
Right.
mostly prose, but he's got a couple of comics too that aren't adaptations of the comics.
Well, and it may
Um,
actually be like uh, you know, Kevin Church may not actually feel comfortable in a prose
that's possible too.
fiction environment. I mean, I know I don't. I
Right.
I like writing dialogue and filling it out that way. Um, if you asked me to write like a novel, I'd probably be lost for
Right.
a year and a half. So, um,
I mean, come on, Mark.
I mean, and part
You're
of
a
that,
playwright. Start by writing the dialogue. You've directed plays as well, so then go back and just fill in the stage direction.
yeah, 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 it's not that, it's not that simple, Tad. Um,
I don't know if that's as true as
there is I think there is a trick to writing description that is
that I don't disagree with. But
um to writing interesting description.
right.
Like, a good turn of dialogue, a good turn of phrase, is something that I feel comfortable figuring out.
Right.
A way to turn he walked into a room into something that somebody wants to read a half page about is
Well,
not.
go read Elmore Leonard. How much description does he give you, and how much is just
Uh,
dialogue?
I mean, there's you still have to fill in. You still have
Yeah,
to fill in another hundred and some pages of something. I
I'm
don't know.
just saying, Mark, I believe in you.
Yeah,
If you
okay.
decided to do it,
All right. See, I'm
and it's
starting to
also
sound
what
like,
editors are for.
yeah. Um,
You
yes.
know,
Okay.
I mean, first drafts and final drafts often look very different.
Yes, it's true.
If you do one part
Um,
really well, then, managing to flesh out, I mean, and for that matter, whether it's comics or novels or whatnot, how many great writers, how many writers that we love do one thing really well and don't screw themselves with the other parts?
uh, Most of them, right?
Right.
I mean, like, look, I enjoy. Well, let's take a really. I think oh, here's a really good example. Michael Chabon is my absolute 100% favorite novelist ever.
I love him.
Uh, Stone genius, as far as I'm concerned.
Hmm.
I think everything he's written has a tint of genius to it.
Hmm.
Uh, some are more genius than others, but
Definitely.
everything is fascinating. Uh, Quite honestly, when he became the showrunner on the Picard show the first year, I was like, this is bad.
You weren't the only one.
And I think that's it's to me it's a level of pacing.
Right.
I think that, and it's also, you know, wow, this is way off topic of this book,
No,
but
it's not. This is what we
um
do. This is a
but
book club. It's
yeah,
whatever
and what I do,
inspires.
Chad, when we do these is I always say this is way off topic, and then you say no, it's not. See,
No,
this
it's
is
not.
the thing.
This is what
Um,
we do.
that's right. But like I think that when you're the and this when we talk about could I write a novel, uh the leisurely pacing that a prose story or prose novel allows you um is not comfortable for me.
Right.
And I always want to go faster. Um, you know,
Which
the
means you just write a novel that I like. I like the fast novels. I mean, I was actually,
I tell you what,
you,
Ted, we're done. I'm going to sit
I
down and start writing a novel right now. And
no, I'm going to go back to Chabon for a second, and then I think turn it
yeah,
back to Terrabonne. Um, I haven't actually watched any of the Picard, and that makes sense. But what I was actually thinking when you brought up Chabon is I think Chabon is beautiful at setting the scene. Chabon is beautiful at um character depth and internal monologues and whatnot. Chabon is not always brilliant at dialogue. I like his dialogue, but I don't love his dialogue. But I think he also knows that his books don't have, they're not as dialogue heavy as an Elmore Leonard book. Elmore Leonard knows the dialogue is his
well,
jam.
I think that that is I I would disagree.
That's fair.
But I also think that like if we want to talk about Chabon, it is what I absolutely adore is that every book he writes is a completely different writing style
Oh, absolutely.
based on the genre that he's chosen
Hmm.
to work in.
Hmm.
And I didn't really that didn't really clarify for me until I picked up The Gentleman of the Road,
Oh yeah.
which is
Jews with
his,
swords.
well, yeah,
That's
and
what he
it's
calls it.
very much his uh
Robert E. Howard
it's Robert
slash.
E.
Yeah.
Howard. He's
Yeah.
writing in that style, and
Yeah.
it's very much, and it's and the he did the God, I've completely blanked out on the name of it. The the Sherlock Holmes book he wrote, which is
Oh, the
something
the
solution.
final solution, not the
Yeah,
final solution.
Final
Yeah.
Solution. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's
Brilliant.
very much. I mean, like he's a chameleon that somehow still maintains his own personality.
Right.
I mean, and
Oh, absolutely.
like his, Mysteries of Pittsburgh, which is he was his master's thesis, and he
Right.
wrote when he was like 24 years old, and I want
Right.
to strangle him that he was able to write that book when he was
Right.
24 years old.
Right.
Um, it's like
God, it's been so
beat
long since I
poetry
read
stuff
Mysteries
and
of.
this
Yeah.
weird, the Cloud Factory and all that stuff, and it's like, and if I had read that book first, I would never have thought that author was capable of writing Cavalier Clay, which of course is
Right.
what
Right.
really bonded me to him, which
Right.
is just epic
Yeah.
novel.
I started with Wonder Boys, but then
Yeah.
when I went back and read Mysteries of Pittsburgh, I'm like, wait a minute, is this the
I
same
mean,
guy?
and
And it
Wonder
wasn't
Boy.
even that I didn't like Mysteries of Pittsburgh and his essays. Have you read his
Oh
essay
yeah.
books? Oh my God. Manhood for Amateurs is like
Yeah.
should be required reading.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Oh,
Maps and Legends, that's
yeah. Oh,
I there's one essay in there that left me. I was on a plane reading it and just openly sobbing.
yeah.
And but yeah, it's
Michael Chabon is another one of my white whales for this podcast. I would kill to be able
if
to
you
talk
ever
shop with Michael
if
Chabon.
you
And yes, I will
ever
call you.
if you ever get him, I will just sit and I will turn, I'm not even saying that you should have me on because I
No,
might
I
turn
would.
into uh hey, remember when you did that? That was neat, But
Chris Farley show with Mark
yeah, that's
Pratt
it.
as
Chris
Chris
Farley.
Farley.
Uh, my brain isn't working anymore. But no, yeah, because Wonder Boys, like
Remember when you were in the
when when
Beatles?
when you
That
when you
was
read
awesome.
when you read that the second time and you realize it never stops.
Right.
Like there's no chapter breaks,
No.
which is exactly where that character is. He can't stop
Right.
writing.
Right.
So it never stops. It
Right.
it is like it's designed to be read in one reading. It genius,
Right.
genius.
Right.
And like it's designed to be read that way, but I don't know how you could ever do it, but unless you have a lot of free time. Um,
And my favorite might actually be Telegraph Avenue, which is the one that
I
nobody ever
love
brings up.
Telegraph Avenue. Yiddish, well, coming back to what we Yiddish Policemen's Union,
Mhm.
I think is a
Brilliant.
lovely uh, homage to like early detective fiction.
Oh yeah.
Like that's your Dashiell Hammett,
Your Hammett
your
and your
yeah,
Marlowe or
yeah,
not
yeah,
Marlowe, Chandler.
yeah. I mean, and like and layering in that alternate
Right.
reality stuff and
Right.
the Jewish elements. I mean, it is. I love that book. And then Moonglow was
Oh yeah.
just, yeah. I mean, just whatever. I
Heartbreaking.
mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Moonglow, like as a NASA kid, that
Yeah.
book was like,
Yeah.
wow. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yes. You
bringing
should
it
you
back to
should
Terrabone
he's
because we've
he's
only got a few
active
minutes
on the
left.
socials. You should just
Yeah,
send him
no,
a message.
I mean, I reach out to Gaiman in one way or another every once in a while. After this is done, I will share the most recent one because it was fun. Um, but
Well, I
let's
mean,
talk.
look, if the cartoonist kayfabe guys can get these people,
Well, they have the advantage of actually being published
oh
cartoons.
sure. Hey, I'm published.
Yep,
Use
yep. So
that.
I'm going to use you. I mean, I have been known to occasionally drop friends' names and stuff.
Yeah, and they'll be
Uh,
like, "Who's that?"
yeah. Well, no, I have a handful of friends that are closer to certain people, but I try to be careful about how I do it. I don't want to put
Right.
anybody on the spot. But let's double back really quickly
Sure.
to
Yeah,
the art
we
because
should
we've
talk
talked about the
about
writing
this
a
book.
lot. We haven't talked about the art, and I'm really TJ
Love it.
Kirsch did, his use of grayscale, his decisions on when to silhouette a panel or when to drop a background or be repetitive. Um, some of the little things like, the books on Daphne's bed, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and
Yeah.
I forget what the other one was
Well,
right now.
and like as always, when you're dealing with this medium, when you're dealing with the graphic storytelling medium, when you're dealing with comic books, when you're dealing with graphic novels, is like how much of that was in like does does Kevin Church write uh
Right. What
like
what
Alan
is Kevin
Moore?
Church giving him?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
because I
even
mean like
even if it's just execution, because it's hard to give the level of detail. I
right.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, because
but
like you have the two ends of the spectrum. You have your Alan Moore who like lays out everything in
right,
minute detail, and then
right,
you have your Stan Lee who is like, okay, it's like this, or
yeah, yeah.
just give me whatever. It's like, and both of those things are completely valid, and both of those things have created genius. It is both there it's nothing good or
Uh,
bad, but it is fascinating. Like what I would say is like just as a pure draftsman, uh Kirsch is, and again, I hope I'm saying that right,
I think so.
is fantastic. I love it's realistic enough to not break the narrative, and yet at the same time there's cartoony elements that
Right.
are really lovely. I'm thinking about um like Zeke. Zeke
Yeah.
is just a little bit more of a caricature
Right.
rather than seeming, whereas like
Well,
Sam,
so is the boss's daughter.
right.
You know,
Well, I mean,
I mean, she's
but
the
yeah, like
caricature of the
I
femme
think
fatale.
the or even like even oh God, what's the name of the crime boss that sends him out there? Um
Oh, Tenaglia,
yeah, Tenaglia, who
Tenaglia.
looks like a caricature of Clint Eastwood, frankly. Um, and all of those things. Like I'm always impressed when an artist can hit that line between uh, honoring the fact that what this is cartooning,
Right.
bottom line, and then also maintaining a sense of reality. I think that all of my favorite artists do that on some level, some more than others. I mean, frankly, this kind of crime story, this kind of thing, like the one thing that, man, now I'm going off. Like, could you imagine like a Joe Kubert drawn detective series in like the 60s or 70s? Like,
Yeah.
that would just be amazing.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, yeah, it's just like that, like he was
Take
made for
take
that kind
like
of
that
thing.
Sergeant Rock feel and apply it to Sam Spade. Oh my
Yeah, I mean,
God.
like he did that. Like I have a page of original art. It's one of my prized possessions. I have a Joe Kubert page,
Nice.
and it was from a Punisher War Journal. And I when I saw it, they were all like, it wasn't that expensive. I mean, I was like, this is Joe Kubert. How could this like not be thousands of dollars? And it's because it's not Sergeant Rock, and it's this weird Punisher War Journal arc he did.
Right.
But and I was like, God, I want some Joe Kubert, but I don't want a Punisher page. And of course, like there's part of it that takes place is in flashback to World War II,
Right.
and there's like these partisans in a bombed out building, and I'm like, this could be right at like this is the page, and
Right.
and I have it, and it's brilliant. And but I mean, it's like the same thing. I like every once in a while I look at it and I'm like, God,
Well,
if
and certain
if
artists, you
DC could
know,
have gotten the rights to like Sam Spade or something
right,
in
right.
like the
Certain
60s or the
artists
70s and
just
just given
like
it to Joe
have
Kubert.
the ability. I remember when I went on my backroom tour of the Billy Ireland,
Hmm.
and Jeff Smith had talked to Caitlin McGurk about the stuff I liked and also just some stuff that he wanted to show me. And we were going through, and he knew I was a big David Mazzucchelli fan. So their
Hmm.
only Mazzucchelli fan or their only Mazzucchelli page is from, I think, New Mutants, something I hadn't even realized that he'd done
Right.
a fill-in book on. And it was just so brilliant that I like spent, and thankfully it was like the third comic shop that I was at after that on our road trip that they actually had a copy like that was the first thing I was looking for at any comic shop we went to. I wanted this this comic just because it's like I don't even care about the story. He just
Well, I mean, yeah,
this random page just
yeah,
completely
I
nails
mean,
it.
yeah, no, I think, but yeah, I don't know who T.J. Kirch is. I've never seen anything where it struck me that that was his work. Um, I would probably look for it at this point because he has that ability to walk the line. It's the same thing Mazzucchelli does. You
Yeah,
know, Mazzucchelli's work is it's so deceptively minimal. It feels real, but it is not. He doesn't render minute detail. And I think TJ here, like in a way, he does almost the same thing. Like he gets so much out of, well, like I'm looking at this drawing of Sam. He gets so much out of Sam's cheekbones.
yeah.
Um, it's fascinating. I mean, like it is, or yeah, it's really good stuff. I mean, like the only complaint that I could have about the art in this book is that there is a bit of monotony to the camera angles. Like there's a lot of really flat on camera angles. Occasionally he'll shift up to like a bird's eye
Right.
view, but and occasionally a bit of a worm's eye view. But a lot of these panels are just flat, and sometimes it's really effective. Like every time they go back to that cabin, it's always the same angle. It's always the same shot to that cabin, which is fascinating. But it's also, you know, it's like uh, I don't have. Well, yeah, and when we go back to Sam's, like I'm flipping through it right now, and I'm like, when we go back to Sam's hotel, it's almost always the exact same angle to that hotel.
Yeah.
The building
I
is
mean,
drawn the
I
exact same.
wonder how much of that is because it's a weekly webcomic.
I mean,
because you're not reading, or you're not expected to be reading tons of pages
yeah.
at a time. And therefore, uh, sometimes basic uh, understanding has to trump style.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. Like I think that if I was reading this as a web comic, I probably would have never noticed that.
Right.
Although there is the one page where it's like uh 4 or 5 panels of that cabin where they take Sam to interrogate him. And it's just basically the same, and maybe it was a stat, maybe it was just like repeated. And certainly I don't look, this is a money-making profession. You got to
Right.
do whatever you need to do to get the job done effectively and quickly. Um, uh, so like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not throwing it. It's just that sometimes, like the the geography of geography of the town of Terrabonne is kind of lost on me. I'm like, okay, so it's a small town. That's great. I
Right.
understand that, but the relationship of things to each other, exactly how small the town is I'm not really clear on that.
Right.
Because when I was a kid, I lived in a very small town, and you know, and I always imagine small towns as Broken Bow, Nebraska, where I was was lived for a while as a very small kid. But Yeah, and that is a minor complaint on my that is a minor criticism. Okay, it's not even a complaint, it's just a minor criticism. Um, but it's sort of like it's sort of like I am like most people in the arts, I am vehemently anti AI,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I actually read a presentation by a colorist who was talking about using AI in their job, and that he puts his own work into it so that he can do a book as quickly as possible. And he still goes over every page, but
Right.
the general goes over pages and adjusts, but like the general coloring is done. He does it with AI. And
Right.
then in a certain level, I'm like, okay, that's fair.
With
You're
the
you're
flat
doing
end.
your work, you're using your work, you're putting your work into the generator to quickly get this job done, because obviously we know it is this is a job. It's
Right.
it's
Well, and that's where you get into, I mean, for tech geeks out there, you can get into some really detailed discussions of what exactly is AI. Because now
right,
that we've finally crossed some lines, everybody wants to call everything AI. And a lot of
right,
things they're calling AI aren't really AI. They're really complex tools, but not necessarily ones that are
right,
that more complex than ones we've been using with Photoshop or whatever for a while now.
right. No, yeah, like digital
Um,
artwork is not AI artwork.
right,
There's people who work in digital formats,
right.
and some people, draw digitally. That's
But
great.
but that doesn't mean that they don't also do things using software to fine tune their drawings, color their
Right,
drawings, whatever. Just because they have a hand component doesn't mean that they have only a hand component. So you get into some really interesting questions of where is the line.
well, I mean, okay, look, this
Yeah.
this is going way off precis, but this is
Yeah.
this is this is something that
Sorry.
I've thought about a lot. It's like, I think that, and as somebody, we were talking earlier, I make music as sort of a serious hobby, right? I'm not making a living at it. I don't care, but it is technology, it's public acceptance of technology drives where the business goes when you talk about
Right.
entertainment or creativity or art. And I think that there's all of these concerns about corporations using AI and getting rid of, and I'm like, that will not happen unless the public decides,
Allows
the
it.
consumers decide, oh no, this is completely acceptable,
Right.
right? And like when, and I know this, there's people get really mad at me for saying this, like when MP3s and Napster and all of that stuff started, like what killed the music industry wasn't corporations. They didn't handle it right. But the fact is that everybody decided, I found this online, it's free, you know? And
And
so,
I would actually argue that it didn't kill the music industry.
well, yeah, but it killed, what it did kill is because of that initial moment when somebody said, well, I just downloaded, Metallica's new album or whatever. I found it, it's mine. That the ability to charge, to say this thing that I created, this song has a monetary value, was eroded, right? So, and then
I
that
mean,
that goes up into the companies because
right.
your record companies, your corporations are always going to side with consumer over the artist. They're always going to do that because they're the ones
Well,
that give
no,
them
they're
money.
always gonna side with how can we get the most money the fastest over the
Yeah,
art.
but that's what I'm saying. If
Uh
the consumer says, I don't want to pay 99 cents for a song,
I don't think the
that's
consumer did say that. I think the record companies went, if we keep doing it like this, we only get 66 cents per song. Whereas if we do it this way, we pay them a lump sum and we get crap tons of music.
right. But,
I mean, I would love to see the actual numbers on whether or
right.
not they were not
But what I'm
selling
saying
at
is,
99 cents per song.
if like, okay, so like some
Because
of
I
my,
bought a lot of music that way.
sure, and I do too. I do not use streaming services.
I do,
I
but I
actually,
still buy the stuff that I love.
I like digital music. I
Right,
buy digital music, I
right,
download MP3s from various platforms where I can purchase it. But
right,
but this is getting into the weeds, but
right,
I think that like when I'm in various fan groups on, Facebook and stuff, and it has just become a flood of people who have found out that they can make their perfect version of the Fantastic Four or whatever
right,
using this stuff
right,
because it'll go out and it'll take a picture of such and such an actor and put it onto a Kirby drawing or whatever,
right.
and the thing, I
And
think the
never mind
real,
the extra arm that it put in there.
right.
Nobody will
I mean,
notice
and
that
like
anyway.
it's even, and quite honestly, even the stuff's getting good enough that that extra arm is not,
Is not as common, but
it's not as
those are the
common.
funny ones.
But that the more your fans say, this is what I want. I want this uniquely generated for me.
Right.
I don't want somebody else's version of it. I want mine. And you can't tell me that like people up at corporate aren't thinking, wow, we could have
No, I actually,
everybody generate their own version of a Fantastic Four movie,
yeah. No, I actually think that this is a
This is a really deep question. This is a
well,
deep
I think it's
conversation.
part of a bigger question about how much the corporate power structure has sold um blue collar America on the idea that artists, athletes, whatever, don't work. They're doing fun things. And therefore, I mean, and it's not just that, I mean, as we
I
see the
mean, I
wealth
was gonna
gap
what the only thing I
completely.
was gonna say is like I don't think that blue collar America needed anybody to sell them that idea, right?
I don't know if I think that's completely true.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, there was a God, what was the name of that movie? It was fucking it was Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman. They did a movie. It was like Mr. and Mrs. something. But it was basically this very genteel little movie where they were traveling around and they stop as a couple, and this was years before any of these questions. And uh that they were looking at an artist working in like Paris or someplace. And the wife was like, "Oh, it's beautiful." And he's like, "Well, uh
Mr. and Mrs. Bridge.
Mr. and Mrs. Bridge, that's it." And and his line is basically like, "Well, you should just do this on the weekends. You should have a real job." And I think that that mentality has been there forever. I mean, I know in my life it's been there. Uh the
Yeah,
way that I've had to work
I
as
think if you
somebody.
dig into Depression and New Deal era, there was a moment where it wasn't there as much.
Well, yeah, I mean, but yeah, that was I think,
And I think that scared the crap out of the power structure.
well, I mean, if you're talking about the WPA and all of that
I'm not
stuff, I
just
think,
talking the WPA. I'm talking
wow,
Major League
we are so
Baseball. I'm
off
talking
topic. It's
about.
amazing.
Yeah, I love it. This is what book clubs are supposed to be, Mark.
Yeah. But I
Um,
mean, but I think, and I know what you're saying, and that people were spending like during the Depression, the one thing people were spending their money on was entertainment, and they still are spending their money on
but
entertainment.
I think that they were that there have been moments that they have been more aware of entertainment matters to me, so entertainers need to be paid, not the people who find the entertainers.
I I don't necessarily agree with that.
Mhm.
I don't. I mean, like, look, as somebody who lived through the whole Napster era,
Right.
because this is like it was a big thing for me when this happened because I was like because the argument like I had arguments with people about this all the time at that time, and they were like, I don't want to pay the record company, so I'm gonna just pirate all of this music, right? And I'm like, so your solution to the company doesn't pay the artist enough is to not pay anybody.
But
And
like
that was their legitimate argument.
bands
Was
that
it
leaned into it, your Pearl Jam with all of their bootlegs, uh
sure?
um Radiohead with the Pay What You Want album, Wilco with the Hey, they dumped this album, so we're gonna make it away. The bands that leaned into it saw increased ticket sales, saw increased merchandise sales, the things that they actually made money on. It
They
turned
are
out it turned out that when and it's one of the reasons that Bandcamp winds up working is because what Radiohead showed was, oh, yeah, more than half people chose not to pay for the album, but we still average $6 per album download, which is twice as much as we get for a CD.
well, yeah. I mean, but that's also uh
I mean, Radiohead at the top of his game. So I know that that's not,
I mean,
but
like, yeah, like it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Taylor Swift, and God help me, I'm about to say something critical of Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, like pulling her music from Spotify because she wants to get a better return on it, right?
right.
Um, and she did for herself. And and she was the narrative was, I'm standing up for all these artists who don't have the power to stand up to Spotify. And but I'm one of the people who has some music up on Spotify who got
Spotify.
an email for them in the last few months saying, you know what? Unless you get 1,000 plays and like every day, we're not paying you anything,
Right.
right? And that, uh, you know,
Yeah,
like I said, I'm a serious hobbyist when
right,
in this particular
right,
arena we're talking about, I'm a serious hobbyist. I'm not looking to make a living off of this,
right.
but if you are, um, you know, and are you if you can't get 1,000 listens a day? Probably not. But the thing is like
Well, I mean, though,
also
there are other
they're not
people who have argued that is Spotify different from the radio? Is it are you supposed to make the money off of the recording, or are you supposed to make the money off of the concert and the t-shirt sales? I
well,
mean, obviously some mixture of the two when you hope to get to a point where you can like tour when you want to rather than when you need to.
I
Um,
mean, I think that if an artist, like let's take the Beatles for example, decides we don't want to tour anymore. I mean,
it's beautiful when they can.
it's beautiful when they can. I mean,
I mean,
like,
this is one of the reasons that I'm way, way, way in favor of way more tax dollars going to artists, a la, I mean, the number of French cartoonists that you'll talk to that, don't live, swank life, but live a manageable life just based on the federal grants that they got to make their graphic
sure.
novels.
But I mean, I would also say, that's
I mean, paying for the
I
arts has
actually
always
we're
been
gonna have to
weird.
wrap up pretty
We
quick
are.
here, but
I kept meaning to tell you that, but we kept going such
um,
interesting places.
but I mean, yeah, I think that there's a patronage model, right?
Right. And there
And
has been
I
forever.
was really, and this, like, I know I'm talking about music a lot right now, but
Right.
it's been
It applies to all
with
art.
things that have been going on in my personal life, music has become sort of a solve for me.
Right.
Uh, uh, Pete Townsend had a really prescient point where he was talking about, and this was like in the late 60s, he was talking about how, artists would have patrons,
Right.
right? And those artists, and that he considered the people who bought his records his patrons,
Right.
right? And therefore he needed to cater to what they wanted while at the same time pushing himself, right?
Right.
Um, I
You
think
just
that
defined why I will never ever call an artist a sellout.
yeah, they're like the idea of a sellout is ridiculous,
Yep.
but that's a different thing altogether.
Right.
Um, but I mean, I think that the patron model, I think people, I think that there has been a sort of burnishing of what that model actually is.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think that you like if your patron like government patronage, right? Okay, great. It also means that at any time, if they decide, you know what, like in my case, we've got enough actors,
Right.
right? So we've got enough actors. What we
Yeah.
really need is we need somebody to clean toilets.
Right.
So here's your patronage to go clean toilets.
Right.
And that leaves me in a position where I'm going to be doing art on the weekends and the evenings
No,
when
no, I totally get it.
and also that if government wise, we're your patron. Therefore, we have some control over what you can or cannot say with your work, right?
Yeah, it's
So either you become a lot better at hiding uh, subversive imagery or subversive content,
right.
or you stop making subversive content.
Right.
Um, and then there's private patronage where, you know,
I would
a
say
lot of
more
that,
times
a
than
lot of
not,
that
it's
in
even harder to have
pre-revolutionary
subversive.
France, where it's like, I need a portrait of my entire family and
Right.
portraits of each member of my family.
Right.
Please do that for me. And then, when on the nights and weekends, you can do the artwork that you want. Like
Right.
you're like, I think that people, I'm certainly in favor of more government funding of the arts. I think that that is important, but I mean, it's also like I don't
I
think
think
it's
I'm in favor of everything.
I think that I don't think it's a magic ticket. to make
Right.
everything
Oh, no,
perfect.
I don't think there's any magic ticket. That's why I'm in
Yeah, I
favor
mean,
of
it's
purely
just I
everything.
do encounter
Uh,
people who think it is, and I
no,
think that
I mean,
it's
if there's one thing doing this podcast, getting to know more and more people who actually eke out a living as creatives has taught me, it's that what you want is as many different directions for them to turn to make money as possible.
right,
So that if they decide that this particular direction isn't tenable for them, you know,
right,
I mean, Taylor, it was about the money, but a lot of people left Spotify because of Joe Rogan.
sure,
If you decide that I I I I need to that there is an option, that there is a way, that there is a and I emphasize to everybody who loves art whatsoever, and I'm not one that'll get down on you for downloading the comic or downloading the music for free, but what I'll say is if you love it, find a way to pay them.
yeah.
Find a way to
Oh
pay
no,
them.
yeah, I like
Whether it's
I
going out and
gotta I
buying the thing that you enjoyed for free, or if it's paying for concert tickets or buying a t-shirt, take a moment to figure out a way to actually pay them. Do they have a Patreon? Do they have a Substack? What way can you get the money to the person that you want to make art for you?
well, I mean, I think that I because like oh look, I had a friend uh had who was massive comic fan and didn't the whole time I knew him, I don't think he bought a single comic.
Right,
He was downloading everything and he was reading like the entire DC line for free.
right.
And this is my argument about like the whole like and we can you
There are definitely
there's all
people
sorts
like
of
that.
debates you can have, but I mean
Definitely
like the
people like
idea
that.
of like I'm going to screw that company
Right.
because I believe they screw their artists. Well, I mean like if you don't like I know
They're going to screw their
I would
artists even more.
they're gonna yeah like then nobody gets anything.
Right.
So
Oh, absolutely.
or this book that you profess to love so much is not going to survive
Right.
because
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
that's yeah like those
No,
things
I mean,
it's
right.
which goes back to like Sam Kimimura. This book is 10 years old,
Right.
right? And then I assume like the webcomic had to be at
At
least
least a
a
couple
year
years
prior
before
to
that,
that.
probably. Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it was not either I can't imagine that there weren't ideas of what to do with Sam past this,
I would
but
hope.
there was no like
And for
the
that matter, whether it's the greatest mystery comic ever or not, and it's not, but it's
no,
a good one. There are enough
absolutely.
people who like mystery comics that it's really sad to me that it's not in print.
Yeah.
It's really sad to me that there's no easy way to pay for it digitally
Yeah.
right now.
Well,
You
yeah, I mean,
probably
and
even
like
bought a used copy. So you weren't giving more money to them.
well, no, actually, I did. I bought. I
You
don't think
managed to
this
find a
was a
good.
used copy. I think that
Okay.
it was. I think they may. I mean, I did buy it online, so they may have
Okay.
just still had copies laying around. But
Okay.
you know, um, it was not a used copy.
Okay.
So the
But they still likely got paid for it a long time ago.
absolutely. It's just a matter of like the great thing about what we're doing here is that like I do think that this medium can be used and this is part of your whole it's part of your whole thing with
Thing.
your
Explore,
22
examine,
panels
and elevate.
is that there are so many more stories you can tell rather than guys in spandex beating the
Oh
hell out
yeah.
of each other.
Yeah.
Even though I love guys in spandex beating the hell out of each other.
It is fun
I love
sometimes.
it.
Speaking of
But
which, if you haven't read White Widow, I just read that. Sarah Gailey is one of my favorite writers, period. For that matter, I know you like mystery books. I just read her Magic for Liars, which is
mhm,
like it's a mystery and it's got like the magic school Harry Potterish twist, and it's about like estranged sisters getting. She crammed it all together. It's totally amazing. Sarah
right.
Gailey is one of my favorite writers out there right now. Hi, Sarah, if you're listening, you do sometimes.
But yeah, but like I think that and every once in a while something big will break out, like 100 Bullets or
Right,
Criminal or
right,
Scalped or something like
right,
that. But I mean, like uh, uh, Southern Bastards, which I
right.
know is a whole nother
A
issue
whole,
there, but I mean,
yeah,
like that book was
was
pretty
amazing.
successful for a while,
Right, right.
and I loved it,
It's
and
amazing.
um and but yeah, like I think that I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
running
we're
out of
going all over the place. It's probably
but it's
you
it's sort of
wanted to be
like
done half an hour ago. So we're gonna wrap it up randomly in the middle right here. I'm gonna say for Mark Pratt, for myself, this has been the second episode of the Pulp Blotter, and we will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.